Okay, it is recording, so we should be fine.
Okay, so Pat, I'm glad we're having this conversation and we're talking and we're going to try to work out our issues and see if we can find some common ground with some problems. But I think I should start out by saying I'm sorry. We had a very contentious argument the last time we talked, and we both said things we shouldn't have, and I want to apologize for that. I think we have a good partnership, and I'm hoping we can find a way to make this work.
I agree. I believe this meeting was well needed, just to discuss of all these dilemmas we have occurred, and hopefully we can resolve some of them today.
Yeah. So my biggest concern right now is this recent condo work that we did, and I think we need to find a way for me to get paid for the work we've done. So, but my concern is that, you know, we usually have a much more laid back working relationship. You've given, is it Fran? Oh goodness, sorry.
I think it's Fawn or Frank. Yeah, I think
Ron,
you're
your
right. Yeah.
assistant, you know, free reign to make decisions for you, legal decisions in the past, and that changed. And I was wondering what made that change happen. Why is there so many problems with that?
So most of the changes she is making is like very minimum, and where this has jumped the price of 700,000 to 950,000, that really affected the business quite a bit. So normally she doesn't make decisions that affect the project that poorly.
Yeah, I mean, but it's in line, it's keeping in line with your plan to sort of upscale these condos. You added higher quality appliances, etc. So making a change from pine to oak really is right up it's in line with your game plan for this condominium.
So one of the problems that we run into with switching from pine to oak is all the other subcontractors that came into the project and now had to do extra work, which also cost us more money, which it ended up costing us about $300 per unit extra. So if you add up all those costs at the end of it, it really makes it hard to even profit off this project.
What did the other contractors have to do to deal with the oak?
So it is a painting company, and they had to, sorry, let me pull this up real quick. So they originally was going to do work for about 3,000 per unit. They ended up doing 3,300, simply because instead of painting over the oak, which obviously we were just going to paint over the pine instead of like showing it. With the oak, you really wanted to show, or basically we just used more expensive wood to be hidden. So they ended up staining and varnishing the oak, which made it cost more.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I can understand how that could be concerning. So if you had to pay $300 more per unit, how about I drop my invoice $300 from 9,500 per unit to 9,200 per unit?
Let me write that down real quick. So I still believe that is not going to knock off enough for what we are needing. I still believe that we will end up being at a net profit loss after that. So I still don't believe we will be able to work with that. So I know we have other problems other than just the condominium, and we could also talk about those and maybe like work them all into one negotiation, and hopefully we could like find a set price at the end of all those once we
Yeah,
figure
let's
out
talk about
everything.
everything and let's brainstorm and throw things against the wall and see what sticks.
Okay. So what I was thinking we could do is, so right now you owe $200,000 for the loan, correct?
I do.
And then you also have missed the past 2 months of rent, which is a total of 10,000. So what I was thinking is that what if we subtracted from the, hold up, let me just do some quick math. I had this in my head already, but I've already lost it. So what if we subtracted, sorry, got to go through my documents, I had something written. Okay, so what if we did $490,000 in total, and we subtract the $200,000 loan and the $10,000 owed in rent from the final price to make it 490,000. But also, for this to work, we have two opportunities coming up for a lakeside house, which is a $200,000 project, which we would be willing to work, continue our partnership, and make sure both of us are working together to trust one another again, and make sure each of us are staying afloat, because I've heard rumors that you all are possibly coming to a bankruptcy. So what if we did 490,000, and I would guarantee you work on the lakeside house, and we also are looking into a $500,000 investment into a coastal hotel property, which we also could look to giving you some work there. So we would
Well,
have to,
but that's not, I mean, you're not really dealing, right? Like you're taking the 700,000, subtracting out 210 and coming to 490. And that really isn't helping at all, right? That's not wheeling and dealing here. And also the only reason I would go into bankruptcy is if this doesn't work,
yeah,
to be honest. If we can't find a way for me to be able to pay the creditors and my employees, I'm going to go into bankruptcy. If I go into bankruptcy, there's zero chance you're going to get $210,000 in recovery for the loan and the past rent.
yeah,
That won't happen because you'll be one of many creditors. And even if you try to subtract $210,000 from the money you owe me, the banks will just come after you for it. So that really won't work. But
yeah, but we're also giving you more business, which potentially could help you gain more money to be able to pay off those creditors.
well, I mean, I'm kind of your best gig in town. If I go under, you're not going to have the best woodworkers available to you in this area. So we both need to find a way to keep me from going under.
Yes, but we also have to find a way for me to be able to continue to invest so my business keeps continuing to run at its full capacity.
And I'm gonna be honest with you here. I have 15 days to make these payments, and if I don't make them in full, I'm gonna go bankrupt. So we have to find, I'm working on a very short time frame. The future work, I think, is fantastic, and I'd love to talk to you about that, but I think we need to find a way for me to not have creditors now, or I go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to the $9,200 for a unit and the condo. Now, that $9,200 only nets me $100 a unit in profit.
Mhm.
And if I don't pay those, I have to pay $700,000 for the oak. I have to pay my employees. I have to pay, regular old expenses. If I don't pay that in the next 15 days, I'm gonna go bankrupt.
So the bad thing about that is, so $920,000 puts me at a net loss. I cannot take that no matter what. I have already agreed upon with another buyer that they will buy the entire condominium for a set price and no renegotiations. So with
What
that
is the
price,
set price per unit on that?
so the set price per unit on that is, give me 1 second. So the net price per unit is 147,000 per unit.
You're paying 104, you're getting 147,000 per unit. And how much profit is that for you per unit?
That's a net profit loss of 30 grand. So I would be losing 30 grand if I took that deal with you.
If you took which deal?
The $920,000 that you say that I should owe you for a for your per unit cost of 9,200 per unit.
So I think I'm not following your math. If you pay out, if you
Because
pay me,
I already have many other expenses in this unit, which have already added up, plus what you are going to have done, which is going to send me over into a loss. So I won't be able to do that.
so you're saying that at the price that you've already sold all of the condos at 100.
It hasn't been sold yet. It is a contract saying that we will sell it, but it has not been sold yet for sure.
And is the contract set in stone?
Yes, it's not renegotiable. So yes. So
Because
more
I
than
feel
likely
like
they are
you're
buying
taking a
it.
big loss on these condos could have sold for a lot more.
Yeah, but with the way the market is, well, the economy is right now, there is no way to get that more out of it. It's a shrinking economy.
So at 147,000 per unit, you you break even
I lose money, yes.
if you pay me 7,000 a unit.
Wait, 7,000 a unit? You said 9,200 at the beginning.
I know. I'm trying to figure out where your math is. And so I'm saying you owe me 9,200 per unit. And you're saying that you're going to take a loss of $30,000 total if you do that.
Yes, after all the expenses, and once I have sold off, I will be taking a loss because I will be eating the cost of what I owe you and eating the cost of everything I've already put into it.
So I just want to make sure what you're saying. If you paid me $9,200 per unit, you would lose $30,000 total.
Yes.
$30,000 for the entire deal, or $30,000 per unit?
No, $30,000 entirely.
So you would be out $30,000.
Yes. And for us to continue business, so if I do not get a price point that works, I won't have any business with you, and I can't further our partnership because I won't be able to go into the opportunities that have been presented to me, such as the Coastal Hotel, which we know is going to be a lot of work, and then the Lakeside house that I won't be able to be a part of those opportunities, and neither will you. So we will just be basically not partners after that.
So we're talking about a difference of $300 a unit.
Yes.
That's where we're at. So you're wanting to pay
So with,
$8,900 to me a unit.
what'd you say? Sorry again.
So you're saying you want to pay only $8,900 a unit.
No, I'm wanting to get as close as I can to that $7,000 bid, which is what you placed before changing to Oak.
Yeah, so there's a few things there that I think you want to keep in mind. We could end up going to court over this, right? Like, I may not have the strongest case, but neither do you. You've used Fawn as a proxy representative for Viking Industries in the past, and that does set a precedence for her to be able to make this decision while you were out of town. We would both end up paying a lot of money in lawyers and probably coming to some kind of an agreement. We could end up trying to do mediation. That might end up being an option. But I understand why you want to pay $7,000 a unit, but I think you're gonna need to give some consideration to changing that strong stance, because there's plenty of precedents set in our past dealings that give Fawn that kind of power. And neither of us wants that. You want to keep a relationship with me, a working relationship with me. I want to keep a working relationship with you.
Yeah.
But I just want to put this out there. I'm trying to lay all of our cards on the table. I want to make sure you know where this could lead if we can't come to some kind of an understanding.
Yeah, well, you're really just putting pressure on me to save you, kind of like you're going bankrupt. I'm not bankrupt yet. So like you putting the pressure of your stress of the bankruptcy onto me is a little bit unfair in the negotiations. So I don't believe that should be your main point of arguing, is this: if I go down, well, then you lose me, and then you'll never see the money that I owe you. So like that position right there just doesn't sit well with my firm. So I'm gonna have to decline the 9,200 per unit.
So there are some other things I think we want to talk about.
Yeah.
One of them is the rental, right? The place that I rent from you. And I've been renting it in the past at $5,000 a month. And I've been looking around, and I've been able to find other areas where rentals where it's about 4,000. And I think because of this decline in the market, 5,000 is really just too much. And I'd like to renegotiate that into a $4,000 mark.
Okay,
which is, I think, a fair market value for the rental.
so I currently have a very trustworthy client that is wanting to take the lease from you and offer me $6,000 a month. So the only way we can really negotiate the rent is if we put it all in one big deal, is the way I'm seeing it. Like, we need to combine all of these money problems into one. I'm not really seeing a way for me to, because right now I have a trustworthy client that is wanting to pay 6,000. Now, it's not in writing, but they're very trustworthy in the community, and I believe they would give me that $6,000 a month.
You might want to think closely about that because that's not what the market's bearing. I have been looking around, as you know, into that.
Yeah. Well, I just have to go based off what has been presented to me.
Sure.
And off that, I'm going to, unless we can negotiate it all together, I believe we're not going to be able to come down on the rent.
So what do you propose?
So, I mean, I'm still going back to my original offer of 490K, and we'll do the 4,000 in rent. And we will continue our partnership, and I will offer you jobs at the Lakeside House and the hotel.
Yeah, I just don't, I'm not willing to bargain on the 200,000. I mean, if you call that in, you call that in, and I'll have to go through bankruptcy to handle it. But I can't see a way forward in having that part of this negotiation payment. As you know, I've made every payment on time. I'm not behind in that.
Well, you are behind in $10,000 in rent, so you are
Yeah,
behind.
I am, well, I'm not behind on the $200,000 in loans.
You are very true, yes. But
And the
you haven't
$10,000,
paid any of the principal, so like
I'm not behind in the loan that we've negotiated.
you've been paying the interest, but you have not been paying the principal, I believe.
But I'm up to date in the loan that we've negotiated, right?
Yeah.
And the terms that we've negotiated. Now, the $10,000, I apologize for. My accountant misunderstood and thought we had moved and didn't pay. And I have that money. I have that money next week, later on this week, and can pay that back to you. So I want to get back to the per unit price because I feel like I know that you're not making any money on this, and neither am I. And if we can get to an acceptance where I can pay off my the loan for the Oak and pay my employees, that we can find some common ground for future work that would make this a lot easier. But the $7,000 a unit just isn't going to do it. It won't do me any good because I
So,
won't be able to pay off the loan for the Oak.
okay, so what if we looked at 750,000?
So that's 7,500 per unit. And again, that's still just too low for me to pay off these loans. I'm not looking to make a profit.
Okay.
At this point, I'm just looking to make sure that everybody else, I mean, I'm gonna have to live off my wife this week. I'm not making any money off this. I need to make sure that everybody else gets paid. That's really what this comes down to. So, and if you're out $300 per unit, why don't we split the difference and say 150, which would mean 9,000 or yeah, $9,050 per unit.
So hold up, give me 1 second, doing some basic math. So I'm still not going to be able to meet that at all. Because like I said, the opportunities with potential work in the future for you all, I get that you have to pay your employees, but if you don't have future work and you can't pay me off, you're not going to pay them regardless. So like these employees are just going to have no money coming into their pockets. So that's why I believe if you work with us here, we can put you on those next properties, and we can also negotiate a deal where we know set in stone at the beginning of how much is going to be owed, so we don't run into problems like this again.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your world vacation?
Yes, it was very enjoyable.
Relaxing?
Very relaxing.
Good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, but we're still coming back to these sort of immediate needs issues, right?
Yeah.
And the two well, I'll be honest with you, I see three. One is the price per unit so that everybody gets paid. Two is the time frame, which is the next 15 days for the money transactions. And three is the rental, the rental space that I have. Now, I'm willing to stick with just paying $5,000 a month in rent if that makes you feel a little better about having a guaranteed renter instead of a wish in your back pocket. But I think we really need to, and I happen to know from a friend that you do have the money to pay in 15 days instead of 30, which is the invoice that you sent. But I don't think that I can find, I will not be able to work with you in the future if I can't find a way to make sure that the Oak and my employees are paid.
So give me 1 second. So I understand your problems there. So what if we did it for, sorry, just doing some math. You do 800,000 in total, which that would be that'd be 8,000 per unit. Could you do that?
I'm just going to break character for 1 second. I don't know if you can hear a cat hissing. There's 3 cats in here right now, and one of them is persona non grata, and the other 2 are trying to make him leave. So I apologize for that.
You're totally fine. You're totally fine.
I don't know where this is going to go. Hopefully not fighting.
Well, we have it on video. We can post it somewhere.
Yeah, I'll
A lot of
turn
people
the
laugh.
camera around so that you can see it. I think we're really close. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get back into character now. I feel like we're really close, and I really appreciate that you are working with me on this. So let me think about this. Let's try to be a little more creative. Let's try to find a way for 8,000 to work, and for me to be able to so if we do 8,000 per unit, All right, how about this? Because that still leaves me shy of meeting my immediate needs by $110,000, which is which I cannot change those numbers. So I need to find a way to get $110,000.
Which you could do with the opportunity, which if I took this deal, we would only be able to be in the opportunity of lakeside housing. We would not be able to partake in the coastal hotel. So you still could continue to work at the lakeside hotel, at the lakeside house, but however, we won't have the extra opportunity of jobs with the coastal hotel.
So tell me a little more about the lakeside house.
So the lakeside house is a $200,000 investment. And with the current location, we are looking to make a pretty good profit there if the way we negotiate right now works out. Potentially, if this doesn't work out, we won't have any opportunities at all, and we'll be stuck in the scenario we're in right now. So,
well, what are you looking at for me and my business in the lakeside house?
So what I'm looking is similar to what we have going on right now in all the condominiums. However, it is less work. That's why I was discussing that if we could get it if we could get it down to a price that would work for me, I would be able to include you in the building of the coastal hotel. However, if we do this price, we'll only be doing the lakeside house, and the lakeside house obviously isn't as large as a hotel. So you won't make as much profit on that type of housing.
Mm-hmm. Well, but with the lakeside house, it's a set of condominiums that you're rehabbing?
It is, sorry, wasn't expecting that one.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what my income could look like with this and how that's going to affect my employees.
Totally get that. Give me 1 second. Shoot. Sorry, you really caught me off guard there. I wasn't ready for that one. So, sorry, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this. My eyes are all over the place.
Do you have an idea on when that work would start?
So it would be immediate. This house, actually I found it. Yes, it is a very low cost to join in on that opportunity. So that is why we are needing the 200,000 as quick as possible, so we can participate and take that lakeside house, and then we'd have work instantly. Versus if we don't make the deal quick enough, we won't be able to partake in that opportunity, and we'll be stuck here.
Yeah, so your concern is you're going to lose out on this opportunity.
Yes.
Because you need $200,000 to invest right away.
Yes.
And what about the other one? How much of an investment is that one?
The other one is a $500,000 investment, and it's a multiple investment. It's a partnership. So there's multiple people pulling their money together in to be a part of that. So like it's going to be quite a large hotel. So it would be a ton of work, which could lead to a ton of profit for you.
Yeah. which is something obviously I'm very interested in because I want to keep my business going. I want to keep my employees and everybody happy. So let's talk about the 8,000 per unit.
Okay.
We're talking about $8,000 per unit. And I know that this is not legally legally binding, but I'm asking you to not call in the $200,000 loan. And I will pay you the $10,000 that I owe you in rent later on this week. And we keep our rental agreement the same.
Okay.
That you were thinking?
So is there any way we can subtract the 800,000 that I owe you and make that 600,000? And that way I have the loan right then.
I would not be, I mean, as it is, I'll have to sell my house. But I wouldn't go into bankruptcy. If you call in the loan, it would just go into bankruptcy. Like there's no money available otherwise.
I do believe you have the most luxurious house in our settlement. So maybe you could just look at selling that house and making a profit off of it for what you can, and downgrading and making do with what you have there.
That's what I'll have to do in order to make up the $110,000 that is bare minimum that I owe. I'll have to do a short sale, I think they call it. Well, a fast, quick sale. I'll lose money on the house as it is, but that's the only way I would be able to pay my bills at 8,000 per unit.
Yes, and I believe it does say that you do have the liquid assets, which I would guess would be your home, to pay within the time needed if called upon.
Wait, say that again?
It says here that you told me that if sorry, I just got to read up on it again. I saw it at the beginning. So it says Viking wants $200,000 for any purpose. The loan will be called due on 30 days notice. Sandy always assures you that Woodcrafters has enough liquid resources to repay the loan on a short notice.
I'm laughing because it says in mine that like I got nothing. I had $10,000 literally, and that check has not cleared until later on this week from a previous thing. I literally have $10,000 to pay you back for the previous rent. And I think that what they mean by liquid assets on your end, and probably what I was saying to you, Pat, is the liquid assets would be if I did a quick sale on my house.
Yeah.
But if I do a quick sale on my house, that money is going to have to go to pay the residual that I owe for this last deal. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I won't get top dollar for it because it's going to be on the market for a hot second.
Yep.
And I only have 15 days to make all of my payments.
Yep.
So I think that's what liquid assets means.
Yeah.
I'm not hiding anything. That's not a lie.
Yeah.
I think it means I think it does mean the house, but then selling it that quickly, I would have to first pay off my other creditors. So I would really need the 8,000 per unit, like price, really, like paid out. And then we can very quickly switch gears, start working on the lakeside houses and try to come up with a better deal with the next round.
So like I said, the only way we even have a chance of doing the lakeside house is if I get that $200,000 loan immediately from you all. And that's why I subtracted it off the $800,000 in total. So that would be $600,000 which would be $6,000 per unit, but you paid off the loan and well, you would still owe 10,000 in rent. So trying to think of the best way to go about that.
You mean the 10,000 in rent?
Yeah.
When my an old client's check clears later this week, I can give you the 10,000 in rent.
Okay.
And then I have $0 in my bank account.
Okay. But if we took the $200,000 off, you would have $590,000 right there.
Well, if you take the $200,000 off, then the $910,000 that I owe, I can't pay.
Yeah. But you could make that back on the next job site, which would start immediately on the lakeside property.
But payment wouldn't be within the next 15 days.
Well, could you negotiate with who you owe money after me and possibly get a deal with them and allow us to get this opportunity of the lakeside house?
Well, Pat, I did. I called the supplier for the oak. I tried to negotiate the 30-day terms I had with them. And they can't pass that on because of their own financial issues. So I'm not simply, I have made efforts to do exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. I just simply don't believe there is enough room for me to do the negotiation at $800,000 in total. I believe I would have to have that loan as quickly as possible to be able to partake in that opportunity. And then once that opportunity has been given to me, I would also be able to allow you to work for us too again. And then hopefully we would be on better terms on the next project.
Yeah, that's a real shame. It doesn't sound like we're going to be able to come to an agreement.
I would agree.
Yeah. So I just want you to think about this because this will send me into bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I know that's not your problem, but it does alter your ability to very quickly turn around the lake house because you won't have somebody ready to go. And it won't give you the $200,000 in loans because that's now going to have to be part of the bankruptcy, which could take a year.
Yeah.
And then some portion of that will go to you at some point.
So see, I just believe if I would take that offer, I would also potentially end up in bankruptcy. And I just don't think I can do it at that price.
Wow. So the difference of $100,000 is going to send you into bankruptcy.
Well, the thing is, I'm looking at that next opportunity, and for me to be able to take that opportunity, and if somehow I gave you the $800,000, then I'm stuck with a very large net profit. Well, not a very large, but I would be floating on the line of bankruptcy if I took that offer. So I just
Do you
can't.
have a line of credit you could take out? A temporary line of credit?
That is possible, but we really need to, the lakeside house is a quick opportunity and we don't believe it will stay on the market very long. So without being able to get that $200,000 very quickly, there is no way we can do it.
Well, a line of credit's pretty quick. If you have a line of credit you can take out, you might find that to be a much better option.
Yeah, I still believe I cannot do it. 800,000 is just way too much for me. And see, I invest in real estate, and in this scenario, it'd be more like me investing in your company rather than real estate. So I just cannot do that.
Well, you invest in my company in that you have a line of 200, credit of $200,000 already.
Yeah.
And that money is specifically invested in the company.
Yes. Well, that was invested when before you started taking on multiple workers. So we invested in your company initially when it was just you, and we saw the dedication in your work. However, with the way this project went, we just can't eat that cost. We just can't eat $800,000.
800,000, you're not eating, okay. Well, Pat, sorry. Well, Pat,
Okay.
I'm really sorry that things have happened this way. This is, I think this is gonna be a lot harder on you than you think in finding replacements for me and my company and my really hard workers.
Yep, I would agree.
All right, we didn't come to a conclusion. We did
Yes.
not come to a deal, and now we need to have a couple of we need to have a we need to don't we need to give each other some feedback?
Yes, on the
that's
contract
what-
form. Well, for some reason, it is not letting me open my contract form. That's weird. Okay. I wonder if I have, shoot. I'm getting an error when trying to download it on, because I just download a blank one each time.
Mhm.
And I'm getting an error. So give me just 1 second if you don't care. Okay, here we go. Hopefully it downloads now. Weird. That is so weird. Okay. Let me just go to my old form, and I will need to fill this back out. Okay. So have parties reached an agreement? No. I mean, the parties have not reached agreement. Yes, we put that, sorry. This is 0. So are you ready to do the feedback?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think of my negotiating style?
You are on it. I mean, you really assert yourself. You really show your power, like by telling me that, listen, if we don't come to a deal, you're going to lose out on me, and you're going to have to find a replacement, which could possibly be worse for me, and it could hurt my business as well. So you did a great job of pointing out all the facts, and just really asserted yourself into a power position, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would
I'm not
say-
kidding you. You really threw me off as soon as you came out the door, because I had like one way this negotiation, which, I mean, that's how negotiations go. Like you think it's going to go your way, and then you go into it and you're like, oh my.
Well, we both have different,
Yeah.
we know different things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was trying to be as honest as I could,
Mhm.
like, I think that's the best thing you can do with negotiations
Yeah.
is just be honest. What would you say are my strengths?
I feel your strengths. I mean, you showed a lot of great strengths in that negotiation of pointing out what will happen if we don't meet the deal. I mean, you gave a great validations on every single point you made, and it reflected your offers, obviously, and you were really pushing hard to meet your point. And I was getting close. I was so close to taking your deal, but there's what would have happened would have just ended me in a bad position, not able to make money once this job has completed. So you did a great job of showing your points and why I should take your deal.
And do you have any improvements? Any suggestions?
I
know this is hard. I'm like thinking this through because I'm gonna have to say the same things to you in a minute. So I'm like trying to think them through too.
So the only improvements is when we first started off and I gave my negotiation, you kind of scared me with the way you're like, no, we can't do that. Like you were very dominant. And like I wasn't, which I mean, obviously in a negotiation, this is role play. You're going to have different types of negotiators, and like you played that role very well, and it startled me at the beginning, and I was like, oh my goodness. So you did great, but I'd say the only improvement is maybe be a little less powerful, because it felt like you threw me off immediately, and it kind of felt like if it was a real negotiation, I would have kind of felt disrespected in a way. But other than that, you did great. I mean, you really blew it out of the water.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think for your style, I would say that you are knowledgeable. You came to the table with numbers.
Could you give me 1 second, please? I accidentally clicked the wrong form. Oh no. Okay.
I would say that you were knowledgeable. You came to the table knowing the numbers and the places that those numbers could get you, and what you were going to need to do in order to be successful. I think, okay, wait, that's more of a strength, isn't it, than a style? I would say that's one of your strengths, that you were well prepared.
Okay.
And then in terms of style, I would say that you were very, let me think, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. You were just very much like, well, I can only go so far and we can't go past this point because I can't be profitable otherwise. And I appreciated that consistency. And I think it was also you being honest. And then improvements, gosh, this is always a difficult one.
I agree. The improvements ones, I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I get it. So sorry, go ahead.
I don't feel like we know enough sometimes to make what I would think of as legitimate suggestions in terms of improvements. But I think being more creative in terms of trying to find a deal would probably be a good suggestion. Okay. And I think that's all I've got.
That is all I have. And with this video, it's still recording. I believe we can stop it now. I'll just stop it.